Welcome to One More Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of a new week's exploration of Chinese characters that share some common features. I call them lookalikes, and they may have nothing to do with each other, but they share similar component. In this case, we have this horizontal line and vertical line on top of the frame. So we have been talking about the roofs, with chimney, without a chimney, some covering of sorts, and now we come to just one straight line and somewhat link to the characters below it. And in particular, this week's group would consist of this one horizontal line and a vertical line, not exactly vertical, with a little bit diagonal angle over there. And then link to something like heavier at the bottom. So visually, it kind of looks balanced, right? Because the heavy stuff at the bottom and on the top is just two simple strokes. So this character is one of the most commonly used one. It's called 直, and it means straight. And you can see simplified traditional looks the same versus 2,000 years ago Xushen dictionary. It got a lot more nuance over there. First off, it's separated. This bottom thing, this kind of S-curve slanted, is separated from the rest of it. And the rest of it, we can sort of see, we can recognize the middle one, this oval shape with two horizontal lines. That's our eyeball symbol in particular. That's a level of abstraction of eyeballs without drawing a human eyeball to its absolute realistic degree. So the outer layer of this oval shape simply is the opening of the eye. And then the two horizontal lines there, straight lines, signifies actually this black from white. I mean, for Chinese, at least, we have black or brown irises. So the contrast is more stark than the other color variations. So those just signifying your iris, I guess, the color from the color white. The rest of the eyeball, and of course, recessed into your brain, we don't get to see. We only see whatever the opening over there. So eventually, this eyeball symbol was used so often, it was verticalized as many Chinese characters that we don't depict the things as realistic as in nature. There is a this is kind of a multi variable function of how Chinese comes up with the way to present it. Ideograms like this, they represent nature or physical world to a degree. And then there's another part of this easy to write, easy to recognize demand to make the Chinese characters more streamlined, kind of straightened up, simplified, connected or disconnected, rectangularized in general. So it's not absolute. That's what I'm doing here is complicated stuff unpacking. So here we have this eyeball symbol, verticalized to save space. And then this bottom, this S-curve slanted. Well, that is Chinese big world frame that we regard the world as leftward facing. So we represent the world in this corner here, this vertical line and horizontal line, there is a turn, right? There is a 90-degree corner there. And this at the bottom of the frame would represent ground. And if we place it on top of the frame, and both are on the left side because we're supposed to leftward facing. So when you place this corner on top of the ground, that's high ground. So we have a low ground and we have a high ground. And this low ground simply is corresponding to today's ground truth or ground reality, whatever you see observed on the ground level. So this kind of a tip pointing downward, you can further interpret it, but for me, this is more style to create a kind of a flowy feeling. It's not necessarily something pointing downward because this corner is the most important thing, and this turning supposed to be underground, pointing toward underground would be like too much. Okay, so we have eyeball, and then the top Recognizably, that's our number 10. Number 10 is a cross symbol, has nothing to do with crucifixion, the Christian symbol meaning. Here is actually not number 10 at all. According to, well, I chat with a bot, that how to interpret this, because I can see that the eyes next to the ground, that simply means we observe what's the ground happening, first-hand information observed by your own eyes, right? It's not like hearsay. It's not interpreted by somebody. It's you with your own eyeballs see what's happening on a ground level. And then originally it was just one straight line going upward connected to the eyeball symbol. That means you see unblocked straight into the ground truth. And this horizontal line was added later as an indicator to emphasize the straightness, like there's no block. And by no blocking, adding this horizontal line actively visually block it, right? So that's the irony. But the intention, the origin was that is this eyeball directly coming up a straight line to symbolize that we have unblocked the vision. We see something straight in the eye, so to speak, right? So that's the eyeball next to the ground truth. Observation, straight line, linear observation. There's no filter, no interpretation. So that's what we regard as the concept of straight. Okay, a few examples. 直观. 观 means observation. And we have, again, here is a simplification of eyeball. Another way to simplify into contemporary simplified Chinese. And here the strokes are human figure, so human see. And then on the left side, it was a simplification of a kind of a bird symbol. So it's originally humans, bird watching. And that's observe, right? Because as an observer of bird, you have to stay immobile. A little bit of a quantum theory that the observer and the observee, they have this dynamic. Once you observe, you collapse the possibility of what was originally could be, right? So whatever you see on that moment was like this direct see as what you observed. It may not be the full truth. You kind of freeze the time or collapse the possibilities. Like that, watching birds give you the sense of, okay, to avoid interrupting your observee as its natural movement, the observer has to stay freeze, right? To be as invisible as possible to observe the bird. So that's the kind of observe concept created from bird watching. And 直观, straight observe. It's almost like not only you look at things straight, without a filter, without a block, and you observe it as if you're watching a bird without moving, without inputting your own energy to change the result you're observing. So that's 直观. It simply means your first-hand information, your sensory signal intake without anything else interrupting the observance. No, observation. Okay, observance is a totally different thing. Okay, 直观. Okay, 直男. 男, farm field plus this plow symbol representing muscle power. That's our ancient version of man or masculine energy. 直男 is a Chinese contemporary expression because, okay, we do have straight man versus gay man, and Chinese translate gay man as bent or non-straight, as curved man. So to differentiate, we simply use the shape to say, are you straightforward or not? Non-linear, right? 直男 is kind of linear. Nan is like, you don't need to think again. Like that's a typical, I guess, that's a typical man. And when we say 直男, simply describe this straight guys. And we have another expression, add cancer, I after it, 直男癌, as if it's a cancer that occur on straight man, which describe the phenomenon of man sometimes almost like unconsciously talk about things from their perspective of straight men, which probably doesn't, in consideration of what a woman's perspective or their lived experience or truth are. So Chinese women call such kind of man without such awareness as 直男. It's kind of, okay, 直男, I kind of misogyny equivalent of Chinese, label term. Okay, 直言, straight words. Straight words simply means hard to hear but truthful feedback to somebody. And we often say 直言不讳. It's like we don't use euphemisms. We just give you straightforward what we think. Speak our mind, so to speak, and make hard to hear. So that's 直言. So here is a straight building, which is pretty straight. And that's 直. Thank you for your time. See you another day.